Now remember in the last video we talked about expressions or functions that have a variable in the denominator. Now look at these three examples and notice how they are the same. Well, first of all, there are no fractions. But we know that we have square root problems. And if you'll remember, we cannot have a negative number under a square root symbol, because if we do, that's an imaginary number. So like if I had the square root of -4, that's not a real number. That would be an imaginary number, which we'll talk about later. So when you have an even radical, what you have to do is you need to set the radicand, which is the part under the radical, greater than or equal to 0. So in other words, what we take the square root of must be 0 or positive, or we will run into this imaginary number idea. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to set x minus 2 greater than or equal to 0. Now when you solve an inequality, you solve it just like an equation. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. And when we do that, we have x is greater than or equal to 2. So that means on the number line, we can only use the numbers from 2 to the right. We could put a 2 in here, a 3, a 4, a 5, and we'd get a real number. If we chose any number to the left, we'd get a negative number under here, which is not real. So our domain is x is greater than or equal to 2. And when we have a greater than or equal to, that means the point is included. So our domain is from 2 with a bracket to infinity. So x is greater than or equal to a number means that we are going from that number on to infinity. Now notice I only have one portion to my domain as opposed to the 2 portions I had with the fractions. Okay, let's do the next one. This is the square root of x minus 9. So I'm going to set x minus 9 greater than or equal to 0. I'm going to add 9 to both sides. My 9's cancel on the left, and I get x is greater than or equal to 9. So our domain would be bracket 9 to infinity. Again, just one statement. We use bracket where the number is greater than or equal to, and then our infinity on the right. Okay, so what would this last one look like? X plus 2 is greater than or equal to 0. I will minus 2 from both sides. So x is greater than or equal to -2. Therefore, our domain is from -2 with a bracket to an infinity. The third type of problem that we have where we want to find the domain looks like these last 3 that I have written here. And you'll notice that there are no fractions. There are no radicals. And if there are no fractions and no radicals, then our domain, we don't have to exclude anything. So our domain is all real numbers. And that would be true on all of these.